Welcome back to the GCN Racing News Show. This week, soaring temperatures, crashes, disqualifications and retirements hit the Tour Down Under in Adelaide. The CycloCross season continues to build towards the World Championships with the penultimate round of the World Cup in France. Plus, we're going to take a look at the gravel and tar race down in New Zealand. The 2019 World Tour season began with the Tour Down Under last week, and as seems to be the case most years, temperatures were incredibly high. So high, in fact, that the first two stages of the race were cut in terms of their distance. The mercury hit 47 degrees centigrade or 116 degrees Fahrenheit in those early stages, although photographer Graham Watson couldn't seem to figure out what all the fuss was about. On the flip side, this year's race actually had a touch of drizzle on the feed zone on stage 4, leading to speculation that it could be a hairy descent to the finish that particular day. Anyway, we'll start with stage 1, and what a start it was for Elia Viviani. He sent an ominous message to any rivals who thought he might not be able to back up his incredible 2018 season. Despite being right up against the barriers with little to no space, the Italian champion accelerated from way back to claim victory in the first World Tour race of 2019. I mean, it's early days, but this could easily go on to be one of the top 10 sprints of the season. It really was mightily impressive. It was another hectic run-in on stage 2, which ended up with a reduced bunch sprint. CCC's Patrick Bevan benefited from this with a tactical and well-calculated sprint, a surprise but thoroughly deserved win, and with that came the leader's jersey for him. The finale had been marred though by a significant crash involving a number of riders, with Marco Haller probably coming off worst. And that crash prompted an exchange of tweets between Nathan Haas and Ryan Mullen, with the latter claiming that the breakaway only had one testicle between them. Haas then tried to defend the breakaway's actions, leading Rowan Dennis to give him a little history lesson about how the race has been won previously. It wasn't long though before we got the Sagan show. He took the spoils on the slightly uphill finish of stage 3. His first road victory, in fact, without the rainbow jersey since the 24th of August 2015. That was stage 3 of the Vuelta. Having previously been quoted as saying that his form isn't quite where it had been in the previous years, he is certainly showing no signs that he's too far behind his normal standards. Stage 4 was always going to be the first chance for a major shake-up on GC though, taking in the climb of Corkscrew, normally a great indicator as to who has the best legs in the bunch. Beforehand, Richie Porte was quoted as saying that Michael Woods would be the strongest on that climb, effectively putting the pressure on somebody else. And there was a new Strava record set on the climb, but not by Rusty Woods. Instead, it came from the Kiwi George Bennett of Jumbo-Visma, 6 minutes 21 seconds at 427 watts, and he must only weigh about 60 kilograms. Luis Leon Sanchez was particularly aggressive on that stage, as he was in fact for the entire week, whilst overall leader Patrick Bevan was slightly distanced but chased back in on the 2-kilometre run down to the finish. And it looked as though he might take a second win there, but he was foiled by a well-timed sprint from last year's overall winner Daryl Impey. Now, there was some controversy on stage 5 because there, Caleb Ewan won the bunch sprint, getting Lotto Soudal's first World Tour win of the season, only for that win to be rescinded after he was penalised by the race jury for an irregular sprint. They deemed there had been too much physical contact with Jasper Philipsen in the closing 500 metres. Now, the decision wasn't really a popular one, with many riders arguing that Ewan should not have been penalised, including ex-sprinter Robbie McEwen, no stranger himself to a little bit of argy-bargy at 65 k's an hour. However, the UCI commissaires have long set a precedent for disqualifying riders who use their head to either intimidate or physically move another rider off their line. It's one of the UCI's more consistent rulings, in fact, so it's good to see them actually adhere to it, even if not everybody agrees. The result then was that Jasper Philipsen was given the victory, but this is no doubt not quite how he imagined winning his first race for UAE Team Emirates. Although that said, Philipsen actually did look to have the pace over Ewan in the closing few metres, so that should come as some consolation. The overall classification though would once again be decided on Willunga Hill, which this year would mark the final stage. And in what is becoming a bit of a tradition, Richie Porte took the stage win, but not the overall classification. Incredibly, that is his 6th win in a row on that particular stage, which according to our favourite cycling statistician Killian Kelly, makes him the only rider in history to win the same stage of the same race 6 times consecutively. However, as good as Porte's acceleration was in the final 600 metres, it wasn't quite enough to topple Daryl Impey, who became the first rider to take back-to-back overall wins at the Tour Down Under. Unfortunately for Patrick Bevan, who had the leader's jersey on that stage, he'd really been the man of the match over the week, but was suffering the after effects of a nasty crash from the previous day, slipping to 41st in the final GC. A huge disappointment we hope we can make up for ever so slightly by naming him as this week's GCN Rider of the Week. Expect to see plenty more from him in 2019. If you'd like to catch up on any of the racing, we have both highlights and as live video from every stage over on our Facebook page. But before we finish with the race for this year, we'd also like to say a huge congratulations from all of us to Matt Heyman. The race marked the end of a long and successful career for the 40-year-old, and it seemed particularly fitting that he got to hang up his wheels after tirelessly helping teammate Darrell Impey to the win. Heyman will be best remembered for his win at Paris-Roubaix back in 2016, where the bulk of his preparation had come from riding indoors on Zwift whilst recovering from a broken arm. However, he was as well known within the peloton for being a strong, dependable and very loyal domestique, as well as for being a very good guy. I, for one, have never heard a bad word said about Matt Heyman, and a quick scan of the congratulations that he received for his career from his peers on social media reveals just how highly he was regarded. Congratulations for all you've achieved, Matt, and all the best for the future. A return to CycloCross now for the 7th round of the UCI World Cup in Pontchâteau in France. In the absence of Van der Poel, we actually had a tense battle in the men's race. In fact, after 2 minutes, we still had no idea who was going to go on to win. The fast course saw a peloton of 35 riders still together after lap 1, a rare sight in cyclocross, with the average speed close to 30 km per hour early on in the race. The first proper selection didn't happen until around the halfway point, with Lars van der Haar having a tumble, which effectively created the lead group of 4 riders. In it were Jens Adams, Toon Aerts, Michael van Torenhout and reigning world champion Wout van Aert. All of them made attempts to get clear towards the finish, but in the sprint it was Van Aert who was strongest, picking up his first victory in any of the major cyclocross series this winter. He is also now the leader of the World Cup ahead of Aert, but whoever finishes in front of the two of them in the final round next week will take the overall honours. Where was Mathieu van der Poel, I hear you ask? Well, since he missed the first 2 rounds of the UCI World Cup over in the USA, he is out of the picture in the overall classification, and so he decided to skip the penultimate round in order to prepare both for the road season ahead and the remaining cyclocross races, namely the World Championships in a couple of weeks' time. In the women's race, it was Marianne Vos who took the win, securing overall victory in the series in the process. And amazingly, that's the first time she's ever won the Cyclocross World Cup overall, having often skipped the first part of the season in previous years. Vos led home Denise Betsemer and Maud Captains in 2nd and 3rd respectively, making it an all-Dutch podium on the day. And in fact, out of the top 10, 7 were Dutch riders, showing just how strong the women's side of Dutch cycling is right now. Sticking with the theme of Dutch ladies for a few more moments, Anna van der Breggen has announced that she will be competing at the Cape Epic mountain bike stage race together with Boels Doelman's teammate Anneke Langvad. And since Langvad was the winner of last year's event, they are likely to make quite a formidable duo in a month or two's time. Meanwhile, down in New Zealand at the weekend, we had the 4th running of the 1.2 UCI ranked gravel and tar race in Palmerston North. It incorporates some 40 kilometres of gravel roads and some big climbs to boot, and it has quickly gained a reputation as being one of the hardest single-day races in the Southern Hemisphere. And it was a case of first race, first win for the newly formed Irish Continental team Evo Racing. 22-year-old Luke Mudgway being the man responsible for that win, with teammate Cyrus Monk in 3rd. And in the women's event, Brodie Chapman was the first to cross the line. Now, you may remember Chapman from this time last year when she won the Herald Sun Tour in front of some top international pros while still holding down a full-time job. She came to the line with Jenna Merrick, and the two of them were an incredible 8 minutes ahead of the next group out on the road. Okay, that's almost it for this week, but before I finish, let me inform you as to what is coming up over the next 7 days. The Australian season continues this weekend with the men's and women's Cadel Evans Great Ocean Road races, and if you can't wait until next week's Racing News Show to find out what happened, then make sure you head over to our Facebook page because we're going to have highlights of both races over there. Cyclocross continues too, with the final round of the World Cup taking place in Hoogehede in the Netherlands. The final major race before the big one, which is of course the World Championships, which will take place up in Denmark in just under 2 weeks' time. Stay tuned also for the GCN show tomorrow, where we'll be having a look at what's changed in cycling over the last 10 years. Before then though, why not check out our latest Meet the Presenters video, where you can find out all about Hank. You can find that video just down here.